To celebrate my YouTube channel hitting 50,000 subs, I did my first 50K. It was a pandemic 50K that I ran around the neighborhood by myself, but I promised that when the channel reached 100K, I'd do another big race. I didn't actually think I'd ever get to 100K, so it was an easy promise to make. But then 100K actually happened just 2 years later, and by then, I knew the 100K I wanted to race was Black Canyon. But in 2023, I was invited to run the Tokyo Marathon. In 2024, I ran London Marathon. And in 2025, I had to spend the winter getting ready to run a fast half marathon in Houston. But in 2026, this is finally my year, and I finally get to train for the Black Canyon 100K.
Yo, what's going on? Kafuzi coming to you from my backyard here in Crystal Lake, and this is episode 1 of a definitely too short training block that's going to take me directly from recovering from the Valencia Marathon straight into 100K ultramarathon training. There's a lot I want to cover in this episode, so let's get started with week 1, day 1.
I had just 11 weeks until Black Canyon, but I was also only 8 days post Valencia Marathon. So I felt like I had to get started, even though I was worried about injury risk by coming back too soon. So this first week would be just some careful, easy miles, but I also had to deal with cold temps, and I also had to worry about short days. This first day had to be split up with some miles on the treadmill because it just gets so dark so early these days. Tuesday was another easy run day, 10 miles, followed by recovery pizza. Wednesday, easy day, 10 miles. Thursday, easy day, 10 miles. Friday, easy day, 10 miles. Saturday, easy day, 10 miles. Sunday, I was feeling pretty good. And at this point, it was 2 weeks post Valencia, so I thought I'd mix it up and go for a longer run with 10 miles at a steady effort in the middle. I wasn't concerned about what the paces were, but mainly I just wanted to see how my body would respond to a little bit of work. And things were feeling pretty good.
Is Christmas week. Christmas is in just a couple of days. So this morning we drove back to my in-laws, and I'm gonna be spending the week here running in New Vienna. Going for run number 2 this morning. First run was 2 miles easy with my daughter. She wanted to just stay fit in the off season. It's a beautiful day, so I decided it'd be nice to take her out. Now I'm gonna do my second run for the day, which is going to be, I wish it were longer, but it's only gonna be 5 miles for now. Getting out for another run today. Gonna do the 5-mile loop again, and with the morning's 5-mile loop and the 2 miles I did with my daughter, that makes today a 7-mile and a 5-mile double. And really, I'm just trying to get in a lot of miles while I can and while I have time and while the weather is not brutal. It is a little bit before sunrise here, Christmas Eve. I think it's Wednesday, might be Thursday. I've lost track of days. I asked my wife yesterday after dinner what day it was, and she had to look at her phone, which I guess that means we are doing our kind of winter break the right way. We're just existing and spending time with family. It's been nice. But today, it's gonna be a very busy day, very busy family day. So I'm gonna try to get my run early. It's like not quite sunrise time yet, so getting out here earlier than I normally would. It's chilly, but let's try to get in 2 laps around the neighborhood, which should be almost exactly 10 miles. Merry Christmas, everybody. It is, I guess, Thursday? I think it's Thursday. And we did a lot of gift opening last night. We usually do a lot of stuff for our family on Christmas Eve. And then later today, everyone else will be coming back to my mother-in-law's. And so we'll do another big family Christmas celebration in the afternoon. It gives me a little time to get in some miles. So I was going to do 5 miles out and back that way to go from New Vienna to Petersburg, but I'm feeling a pretty steady wind going that way, and I don't want to run 5 miles into a headwind on the way back. So I'm just going to keep going northward and do an out back that way. So that way at least it'll be a side wind for a lot of the run and just a little bit of headwind at the end. I'm gonna try to be nice to myself a little bit today since it's Christmas. It is Friday after Christmas, going for another 10-mile run today, and I gotta say I'm very thankful for all the podcasts that publish new episodes Christmas week.
Thinking about the way we
Just made it from New Vienna to Petersburg. Today I had the headwind coming at me on the way out, so I should have at least a side wind or a tailwind on the way back. The distance from New Vienna to Petersburg is about 5 3/4 miles.
feels better that we're on separate ways. Our memories faded. Sometimes I think of you.
It is a very foggy day here in New Vienna, Saturday. I wanted to get an earlier start, but I ended up getting caught up with doing a little bit of work in the morning, drinking coffee, hanging out with the dog, so it is what it is. So I won't be able to go quite as long as I was originally planning today, but hopefully I'll get in a good 10 miles.
Thinking about the way we 난 광진대교 건너면서 든 생각 없어 마음에 드는 사람 넌 나만이 컸어 그냥 뒀어.
When I got back to the house, my daughter asked me to take her out for her run, so I got in another 2 miles there. And then we went to watch my godson at his bowling tournament. The venue made me feel super uncomfortable because there were a lot of red flag dog whistles, but the event itself was super cute, and at least for the kid bowlers, it seemed very inclusive and supportive. Sunday, we were back home for another 10-mile easy run in my least favorite kind of weather, winter rain. I got in a total of 78 miles this week, all easy, and I was feeling pretty good. But the next week would be the real challenge. We typically spend 1 week in Iowa for Christmas, and then the following week is with my side of the family in Connecticut. But this year, my wife caught a pretty nasty cold, so she could not join us. That meant that I had the kids all by myself. And by myself, I mean that my wife wasn't there. Once we got to Connecticut, my sister and her family would be there, and my parents would also be there. So it's not like it was hard, especially since my kids are good travelers. But it does make getting in my morning run a bit more tricky. The already late winter sunrise means I have to start the run later than I'd like, which in turn means that my kids are usually up and demanding things like breakfast and attention before I would normally return. So because my wife wasn't there, I had to cut my morning runs a bit short, and also because I was with my side of the family, I couldn't just duck out and go for an afternoon double, so I knew mileage would be short for this week. But I tried not to worry too much about it and just run whatever I could, whenever I could. After a few days in Connecticut, our family usually then spends some time in New York City doing touristy things. And that's when things got a bit harder without my wife there. I pretty much could only get in about an hour's worth of running or so each morning on the treadmill in the basement of the hotel. And then the rest of the days, we were on our feet exploring the city. This year, my kids actually wanted to go to the Met, which is one of my favorite museums in the world. We saw the Egypt exhibit, which my older daughter was somehow underwhelmed with. I made the kids go through the armor exhibits, which is one of my personal favorites, and then we spent a lot of time at the paintings. My kids and I enjoyed the Impressionists, and we all tried to appreciate the Cubists, and I spent a lot of time at Washington's crossing of the Delaware. I'd forgotten just how massive this painting is. Also during the trip, we got donuts at Donut Pub, which is a peanut-free donut shop. We ate a lot of pizza, and I also got to take the kids to their first Broadway show, Wicked. The mileage for this week is a lot less than the 80 miles per week than I was hoping to average for this training block. But in the big scheme of things, I was able to take care of the important stuff, while I was still able to get at least some miles in.
So that's it for episode 1. I'd say overall, I think the first 3 weeks were a success. I was able to roll off a Valencia Marathon without injury, and my body now feels ready to put in some high mileage. But I do recognize that at some point, I'm gonna have to do some actual trail running to get ready for this 100-kilometer trail race. So stick around for episode 2, where I finally put these trekking poles to work.